I'm going to read this. Fox Corporation, Fox Sports Holdings, Fox Sports 1 LLC, Fox Sports 2 LLC, Fox Sports Production LLC, Charlie Dixon, Skip Bayless, and Joy Taylor. So she names these three people specifically. Did anybody ever just ask themselves why we let this guy, Skip Bayless? Does anybody wonder why we let this guy say anything about basketball or any kind of sport? Why did we let him say anything?
I don't know why everybody if you notice, everybody's posting it. They got me. In the 42 pages, they don't mention nothing about Shannon Sharpe did anything, but y'all want to get clicks, so y'all mention me.
So, did you get a chance to hear about this Fox Sports situation?
I did not.
So, a woman that does, you know what? We're going to do this. I mean, this way, because I'm not going to I can't explain this exactly the way that might as well just go and watch the news and let them talk about it. Here we go. Let's let these rock, because this is messed up a little bit. and this is why I want to talk about Jason Whitlock, because Jason Whitlock is just addicted to black on black crime, which is what I was talking about earlier. Is just like, we only have this kind of energy with each other. We don't have this kind of energy for nobody else. So here we go.
High-profile celebrities. This time, Fox Sports and two of its biggest stars are in the hot seat. A former hairstylist has filed a lawsuit accusing Skip Bayless, Joy Taylor, and others of sexual battery and harassment, even going so far as to say Bayless offered her more than $1 million for sex. We've got our hands on this lawsuit, and we are bringing you the most shocking claims. Welcome to Sidebar, written by Law and Crime.
Real quick.
Go ahead.
Battery implies physical violence, does it not?
At least some contact, yes.
Then why would he be offering her money if he was just taking this?
I think they're referring to multiple instances of contact over a long period of time, actually. So I think sometimes it was physical where he touched her. There are some times where I believe he's alleged to have propositioned her verbally, and put her in some pretty awkward situations. But I don't think outside of some rubbing, some touching, and some like lingering hugs, I don't believe it has gone further than that for some people. Other people did get a little bit more physical with her and made it very clear that her job depended on it.
Wow.
So allegedly, here's my question before we even get into this though. And this is what I would like to actually talk to Uncle D about. I'm wondering if these civil lawsuits are being written differently now than they did, say, 10 or 15, 20 years ago. And if they are now meant to be written a lot more salaciously because they know that they're going to be read publicly before the court case even gets going. And I'm wondering if that is becoming a strategy or if that was kind of always the case, because I don't know whether we're paying attention or not. It just seems like a lot of YouTubers and like a lot of the media is getting a little bit better about like looking at the court documents, because it's like at least we can believe the court documents. But they're bringing up indictments, which indictments are not court documents. They're just indictments. So that's just allegations in there. There's no proof in there. So people are taking indictments public, making it like it's law, telling these stories in the indictment, and that's getting out into the public, kind of poisoning the pool.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if the way that these people are writing the civil lawsuits lately is the same as it was 10 or 15 years ago. If I were to ask Uncle D or any of the attorneys that pay attention to this stuff, I would just wonder how much of that has changed in the last 10 or 15 years. Here, let's let this rock.
Now, as soon as this hit the headlines, we knew we had to cover it, right? These sexual misconduct allegations that have rocked the sports world. Los Angeles hairstylist Nushin Faraji says that she worked with Fox Sports from 2012 to August of last year, and during that time, she claims she was not only subjected to a hostile work environment that included inappropriate comments and touching, but she says she also dealt with retaliation from the company for speaking out. So she has filed both a class action complaint, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit more later, and an individual complaint on multiple grounds, including things like failure to pay minimum wages, unfair, unlawful, or fraudulent business practices, hostile work environment, and sexual battery. Now, in the opening paragraph of her complaint, in this lawsuit, it reads, Ms. Faraji brings forth this action because for over a decade at Fox, she was forced to endure a misogynistic, racist, and ableist workplace where executives and talent were allowed to physically and verbally abuse workers with impunity. When Ms. Faraji and others came forward to report the wrongdoing, instead of addressing their concerns, Fox retaliated against them while the perpetrators and those who protected them were inexplicably promoted. This case thus represents yet another in a long line of cases chronicling the toxic culture at Fox, marked by bad faith promises and repeated failures to address a poisonous and entrenched patriarchy. Now, you might be saying this is like, I'm not a sports fan. I have no...
You got to slip that patriarchy in there. Hold on. Okay. So, essentially, the hair and makeup lady of the higher ups were engaging with each other, and essentially some of the hosts, potential hosts and co-hosts, were screwing themselves into position. Joy, the light-skinned black lady, was hooking up. She absolutely, there is a record. She broke up her own marriage. There's a whole bunch of, I don't know if we will go over it. We may or may not go over it or not. If y'all really want to hear the dirt, we could do the dirt, I guess. But it was, bro, she really banged her way to the top. Like she really like, they got her dead to rights. And like any of the behavior by itself wouldn't be that big of a deal. But when you look at it all together, you're like, damn, we can absolutely see everybody you hooked up with for the last like 10 or 15 years, and like how you made it like right on up and like who you got a show with and who was your boss. And like, anyways, let's let it rock.
Repeated failures to address a...
So this woman was her makeup lady, hair lady, like one of the higher up, like on the show, on the top sports shows. So she did the hair and makeup for Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp and all those on FX1 or Fox Sports 1 or whatever.
Poisonous and entrenched patriarchy. Now, you might be saying this is like, I'm not a sports fan. I have no idea who we're talking about. That's okay. We're going to give you a rundown about who the defendants are in this case and other major players as well. So we want to give you a quick rundown of this. We're going to first dive into what Faraji accuses them of. So Faraji is suing Fox Corporation.
I'm going to read this. Fox Corporation, Fox Sports Holdings, Fox Sports 1 LLC, Fox Sports 2 LLC, Fox Sports Production LLC, Charlie Dixon, Skip Bayless, and Joy Taylor. So she names these three people specifically.
Okay, I think I already know where this is going in regards to Whitlock, but
yeah. Let's let this rock, because we got to build it up to we're gonna come up and we're gonna come down.
Fox Sports 1 and 2, often known as FS1 and FS2.
I'm so glad you said that, because it's like there ain't no Shannon Sharp nowhere on here, but it's Fox, Charlie Dixon, Skip Bayless, Joy Taylor. Okay, let's rock.
And Fox Sports Production. And as well, she is also suing Charlie Dixon, Skip Bayless, and Joy Taylor. First, we'll start with Charlie Dixon. Charlie Dixon is the executive vice president of content for Fox Sports 1. And by the way, that's apparently Fox's flagship multi-sport national network. And he is responsible.
Mm-hmm. He looks like the stereotypical bully in so many 80s films.
Absolutely.
He looks like Biff in Back to the Future.
I was going to say that. Looks like Biff. Yeah. So Biff was the head guy. Okay, I was thinking the exact same thing. Squarehead, mother.
Content for Fox Sports 1. And by the way, that's apparently Fox's flagship multi-sport national network. And he is responsible for overseeing the content and production for the network and has the authority to make decisions about employees. Skip Bayless is a renowned, albeit controversial, sports commentator who's worked in print, radio, television for decades. He's worked as a commentator with Stephen A. Smith on ESPN2's show First Take. This is...
Man, look. Did it ever, did anybody ever just ask themselves why we let this guy, Skip Bayless, does anybody wonder why we let this guy say anything about basketball or any kind of sport? Why did we let him say anything?
Radio, television for decades. He's worked as a commentator with Stephen A. Smith on ESPN2's show First Take. This is before he debuted his own show with Shannon Sharpe called Skip and Shannon Undisputed. This was on Fox Sports 1 in 2016. And that, by the way, is where he worked with Nushin Faraji, who was part of the styling team for the network. And by the way, in 2021...
So part of the styling team, to be specific. So I thought, I don't know, just in case I said anything disrespectful, I apologize.
The New York Post reported that Bayless had signed a $32 million contract with Fox. It's important when we talk about his wealth a little bit later. FS1, and she was the moderator for Undisputed for a few years, working closely with Bayless and Shannon. Now,
she just looks like trouble. And like, who wears leopard skin on national TV?
That tells you everything.
Right? Like how? Like that says Thought Pocket. But but that's what she is, though. I mean, that allegedly. Isn't that what she's supposed to be? Anyways.
Now, she moved to another show called The Herd with Colin Cowherd on FS1 in 2018, and she's had many other hosting gigs since. Her Instagram is filled with not only reactions to some of the biggest sports news, but also glamour shots, videos where she gives advice about relationships or comments on current events. Now, Faraji says as Taylor continued to move from show to show, she had requested Faraji to continue to be her.
That's Faraji. She looks like a Muppet, but whatever.
Her stylist.
You know, it's okay. Look, I guess if your business is dealing with what people look like, I guess it's maybe fair game for people to talk about what you look like. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Like if I see an engineer,
personal trainer, and he's got a beard good, like
yeah, that would be weird. So me commenting on her appearance is not out of line because she deals with appearance. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Okay, I wanted to just put that out there.
That, like, it's not even like she doesn't look like she has an ugly face. It's like she's wearing way too much makeup.
She looks like a Muppet. Yeah. Shout out to
Facts.
I mean, let's continue.
Now, the lawsuit notes that there are two other people here. There's Mark Silverman, president and COO of Fox Sports, and Eric Shanks, CEO and executive producer of Fox Sports. They could become named as defendants. They're not currently named, but they could be named as defendants as the case progresses and there's discovery in this lawsuit. Because the complaint reads, on information and belief, Mr. Silverman and Mr. Shanks approved, were made privy to, or should have been privy to, all significant employment decisions and personnel-related investigations related to misconduct and or harassment by Fox Sports executives and talent. Further, on information and belief, Mr. Silverman and Mr. Shanks, along with Fox legal team, worked hard to protect perpetrators by forcing individuals who were witnesses to or targets of misconduct and or harassment to sign non-disclosure agreements upon separation from employment. So, on January 3rd, Faraji filed this.
So, if you work with a lady like this, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't get it, I guess. Right? Like, because here's what happens, right? They dress like this, they flirt, and then it's if they like you, everything is cool, but if they don't like you, then it's not cool and you're weird.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've seen it go both ways. I've witnessed it go both ways. I've seen the same person act different to the same thing given by one guy that she thought was cute versus another guy that she didn't. And the reactions were completely different behind the same type of behavior. And it's like, and women should be able to look nice at work, but like, should you be allowed to comment Right? Is it against the rules? Like, are you out of line by being like, you look nice today?
No, not at all.
Or
it goes so far like Patrice.
Where's the edge? Is it like
Patrice had a great concept? He called it a harassment day.
I think I remember that joke.
Freaking great. Approach a woman, flowers and chocolate, chicken like Valentine's Day. I've been noticing you for a while around the office. I wondered, would you be cool take you in the closet and bang you out one time? No, like, all right, I thought you was a hoe, but my bad. Enjoy the chocolate, enjoy the flowers. I'll go back to my cubicle.
Right? Why not?
Just to put it out there, like,
yeah, get it out there. That way, in the off chance, and then now, and that way everybody knows where everybody's coming from.
Yeah.
There's no problems, right? I threw it out there. You're not in, cool. That way we don't even have to play with it anymore. I agree. I think Patrice O'Neal was a wise man. Shout out to him.
Complaint, laying out what she says had happened to her during her time at Fox Sports. And according to Farage,
she looked good right there. She didn't look. That must have been early in her career, because that's not what that other picture of her. They did not look the same.
She had worked part-time for Fox starting in 2012 and then went full-time in 2016. During that time, she says she befriended Joy Taylor, and this was after Taylor had moved from Miami to Los Angeles for the chance to host on Fox Sports.
Thought pocket.
According to Faraji, Taylor didn't have a regular position at the time, but was available to fill in when needed. Now, this is where it gets interesting, because Faraji claims that when she would go out to meet Taylor for dinner or drinks, Charlie Dixon, again, the vice president for content, was always around. And Faraji says that she didn't even know he was an executive with the...
Okay. This is the part that I think is kind of crazy right here. This part of the story. Biv's gonna do what Biv do, absolutely. Listen to this.
Company until later, when she mentioned to Taylor that she'd seen that guy who always buys us drinks in the elevator. And that is when she said that Taylor shushed her, explained what Dixon's position was in the company. And Faraji believed, based on her interactions with these two people, that they were sleeping together. And when she warned Taylor that might not be a great idea, that a relationship like that could be dangerous, Taylor allegedly told her not to worry about it. And by the way, apparently both Dixon and Taylor were married at the time.
Thought pocket. Okay. I got this rule about knowing who you slept with. Look, I assume that any girl that I'm most likely to meet up with at this point has probably had multiple partners. I get it. I totally understand that. I'd like to hope and pray that I can find a woman whose numbers are low. That would be nice, right? I assume that. However, if I can jump onto Google and find any more than one or two or three like obvious dudes that I know you done banged out, slutted out, that's automatic DQ. I can't know all the dudes you've been with that you done slept with. I can't know them all. You know what I'm saying? I can't be able to like know them by name, first, last name. I can't, is that you just disqualify yourself at that point? You know what I'm saying? Like, not even for play. If I know multiple dudes that you done, that's a personal thing. I just don't like when I start finding, when them numbers start getting up there and it's all people that I can call out by name that I know publicly that's unacceptable. So I just wanted to put that out there.
So according to the complaint, in approximately July of 2016, word spread amongst Fox employees about a new show that was going to be a big deal, as it would star Mr. Bayless and Shannon Sharpe. It was known that Fox was looking for a woman with significant TV experience to also star. Therefore, it came as a surprise when Fox announced that Miss Taylor, who was a bartender and radio host in Miami with very little TV experience, would be the moderator of the new show, a sports debate program, Skip and Shannon Undisputed.
Dun, dun, dun. Okay. All right. So that's how they figured out how to shoehorn Shannon's name in here. Let's continue.
So Faraji claims that Bayless didn't want Taylor to host the show. In fact, in the lawsuit, she claims that at a dinner between Taylor and Bayless, Taylor shows up, she's dressed and starts acting very provocatively, potentially in a way to change his opinion about her being on the show. But eventually, Bayless agreed to approve her on the show as a favor to Dixon. Okay, when the show premiered in 2016.
As a favor to Dixon, allegedly. Okay.
Taylor, according to Ms. Faraji, had requested that Faraji be her hairstylist, and eventually Bayless had asked her to do his hair as well. Not long after, in January of 2017, Faraji claims that she had attended a birthday party for Taylor. When she goes to this birthday party, she says that Dixon was there, and he was drinking quite heavily.
Salute to Biff.
The complaint reads, as Miss Faraji was standing near the bar facing the crowd, Mr. Dixon approached her. He asked the bartender for a drink and then placed his arm on Miss Faraji's lower back. He asked how she was doing, if she was having fun, and if she wanted a tequila shot. Miss Faraji felt very uncomfortable by his unsolicited touching and responded, no thank you. Mr. Dixon then moved his hand lower and started rubbing her body and grabbing her buttocks. Miss Faraji was mortified, but quickly thought to fake an incoming call to escape from the situation. The complaint goes on to say Miss Faraji did not know who to turn to, but as she knew Miss Taylor was sleeping with Mr. Dixon, she turned to her. Surprisingly, Miss Taylor responded to get over it and explained that she herself only had her job because of Mr. Dixon and that Miss Faraji only had her job because Miss Taylor requested her. She warned that Mr. Dixon could take both away.
She knows the game, but she gonna play it line for line, word for word. Fuck about your punk ass feelings. I'm trying to make this money.
That's what she said. That is what she said. That is what she said. Bitch, you fucking up the bag. Bitch, you about to fuck up the bag. You about to mess up the bag, bitch. You need to chill. You gonna mess up the bag. I got something. I'm working on something over here. You about to mess up the bag. You know why I think that this is beautiful? Because sometimes, obviously, this always ends up being like a one-sided thing. It's the patriarchy, and we never really pay attention to the diabolical female that's like more than happy to participate in the goings on. You know what I'm saying? The Cassies, you know what I'm saying? The people that are at the Diddy party doing the Diddy thing but don't want to freaking take responsibility for the Diddy shit. Like, that's exactly what, you know? And so I'm kind of glad that this lady got out in front of it so that Joy lady can kind of, you know, it's like, ooh, you really is a hoe, huh? You were married, fucking with this guy, fucking with that guy, because it gets worse. It gets worse, ladies and gentlemen. It gets worse. They're not done.
The complaint goes on. Miss Faraji was terrified and then turned to her coworker, Anonymous, to discuss the situation. Anonymous responded that Mr. Dixon was disgusting, that the entire situation was sick, that it wasn't shocking given Fox's culture, and that Miss Faraji should remain quiet if she wanted to keep her job. As a single mother who needed the job to support her son, Miss Faraji had no choice but to remain silent. So, by the way, that is one of the reasons why you might be saying, well, if all this happened, why didn't she file a lawsuit sooner? And we'll get into more of the allegations. But this is a reason. She needed the job. That's something that I will think will come up in a potential lawsuit, a potential trial, if she's being grilled under cross-examination. Okay, moving forward. Later on in the complaint, Faraji claimed that Taylor continued to use her sexuality to advance at the Fox Company.
Hold on. What? I think she had a salon.
She couldn't get a gig at a salon?
Oh, no. You know what it is. That's the thing they keep saying. It's like, oh, I can't leave because I need a job. And it's like, but you could go get another job, but I can't leave. It's like, but you could leave though, but I can't leave. but why don't you just leave? But I can't leave. I need a job. It's like, I just don't believe that people just can't leave. I don't believe that stuff. I just don't. This is where I get in trouble, and this is where I seem like an asshole. But like, exactly, Sheridan. Thank you so much, Sheridan. Thank you so much. He said they love the money. And you know, they like the fame, whatever. And they're like, I don't mind doing this, and I'll take some of this to be able to be up here. And then you want to cry about what happens when you're up there. And I mean, I get it, because nobody should be putting no pressure on you to do anything. I get it, but you have the ability to say no. The only reason why that shit works is because people say yes. If everybody fucking said no, asshole, and everybody knew that if they tried to do some shit like that, they were going to get fired and lose their jobs, then they wouldn't do it. But it works because people like it. People are involved. They like to be they like to party. They like to be in the exclusive rooms. They like to be able to walk up to the VIP and get in. They like to be, look, they like this stuff. And then when the money runs out or they don't get the attention they want, or someone else continues to go up like this and they don't go up like they're supposed to, they want to throw a temper tantrum. And I get it. But you know, it's just, I just wish people would keep the same energy for everybody. That's what I'm saying. When there's people out here committing actual crimes and doing actual stuff, you know, instead we're on this other stuff. Let's continue though, because she's about to get with Mr. Acho. Hold on.
And she did that. Faraji claims that Taylor continued to use her sexuality to advance at the Fox company. And she did that by allegedly sleeping with Emmanuel Acho, a former football player turned commentator. So the lawsuit reads, quote,
Damn.
Approximately February 2020, Miss Taylor asked Miss Faraji to meet her for lunch in Beverly Hills. When Miss Faraji arrived, she found Miss Taylor with a man, Emmanuel Acho. Miss Faraji didn't know Mr. Acho, but could tell that the two were romantically involved. A few months after meeting Mr. Acho at the lunch, Miss Faraji noticed him in the hallway while at work. Miss Faraji later asked Miss Taylor if Mr. Acho also worked at Fox. Miss Taylor confirmed and explained that she wanted Mr. Acho to eventually recommend her on the show, Speak for Yourself. Miss Faraji became alarmed and warned Miss Taylor that she should probably not sleep with Mr. Dixon and Mr. Acho at the same time, as Mr. Dixon is a very powerful man that may become very angry. Miss Taylor told her not to worry about it.
I think this is kind of crazy for this to actually be in the indictment. Like I said, shout out to Uncle D, shout out to Dennis Sperling. I would love to get his opinion on this. I would absolutely love to get his opinion on this. I'm curious to know if this is truly written in a sense that, like, did a rookie write this? Like, is this, I don't know. Like I said, it's not as bad as like the Diddy indictment and like some of the R. Kelly indictment, but it's starting to seem like these indictments are very inquirer like, but you know, I digress.
Explained that she was also now powerful, and once Mr. Dixon was no longer useful to her, she would follow through on her plan to tell the company that he forced himself on her. She would not allow herself to be forced out by Mr. Dixon like other women talent. Wow. Okay, now back to Faraji's claims of sexual battery. So Faraji says in addition to doing hair for the talent, she was also required to give haircuts to Bayless once a week. And she says that's when he started finding excuses to touch her, including giving her these lingering hugs and kisses on her cheek, where he would also press against her breasts. And
lingering. Let's continue.
Approximately summer of 2017, while Miss Faraji was giving Mr. Bayless a haircut, he told her that she was voluptuous. As English is her second language and she was not familiar with the word, Miss Faraji asked what that meant. Mr. Bayless seemed amused and told her to, quote, figure it out. Miss Faraji later asked a coworker what the word meant and was mortified. Mr. Bayless then started being more aggressive and direct in his advances. Miss Faraji continuously declined, stating that she did not date at work as she is a single mom and needed her job. And Faraji also made further stunning allegations against Bayless, including that he offered her money for sex. Remember when I talked about his wealth? Well, the complaint reads, quote, in July of 2021, Miss Faraji developed issues with her left ovary and was advised it could be cancer. With a fourth biopsy scheduled, she explained her situation to Mr. Bayless, hoping that he would take pity on her and cease his advances. Instead, Mr. Bayless told her that he wanted to be with her. Miss Faraji panicked and began rambling that there were cameras everywhere, that she has a child, that she does not want him. Mr. Bayless then grabbed her hands, began kissing them, and offered her $1.5 million to have sex. Miss Faraji made an excuse to leave. The complaint goes on. Approximately 1 week later, Mr. Bayless made another advance at Miss Faraji. Miss Faraji responded, Skip, stop, you have a wife. Mr. Bayless responded, aren't you Muslim? Doesn't your dad have 3 to 4 wives? Miss Faraji responded that her father was dead, and when Mr. Bayless looked taken aback, she made an excuse.
Approximately 1 week later, Mr. Bayless said, made another advance at Miss Faraji. Miss Faraji responded, Skip, stop it, you have a wife. Mr. Bayless responded, aren't you Muslim? Doesn't your dad have 3 or 4 wives? Miss Faraji responded that her father was dead. Oh man, it's like a Seinfeld episode.
Really?
Excuse to leave. Now, at one point during her tenure at Fox Sports, Bayless reportedly started to think that Faraji was in a sexual relationship with his co-host Shannon Sharpe.
And here we go. Here we go. We're about here's the meat and potatoes right here. Here's the meat and potatoes. Here's how this man, this one guy, is living rent free in so many people's minds. Shannon Sharpe is the big black buck that all of these people, I didn't realize how thirsty everybody was for this dude. They are so thirsty. America is crazy, bro. It's funny. Like, people don't even see what this is. this is just like this big black buck just rutting on all the females, just hunching on everything, got everybody straight worrying about where he's putting his penis constantly.
This is a big point in the complaint. And he allegedly confronted Faraji about it. And Faraji denied having any sort of relationship with Shannon Sharpe, saying that she was just nice to all the talent, then he was just misunderstanding the situation. And Faraji says that she even used a recording device to capture one of the conversations with Skip Bayless. Quote, Mr. Bayless then arrived in the makeup room for Miss Faraji to cut his hair in accordance with his regular schedule. Mr. Bayless knew that the makeup room was always recorded and clearly states, this room is bugged. During their conversation, Mr. Bayless stated that he would hate for her to lose her job, but she can't be doing a big thing with my arch rival. She responded by reiterating that being polite to Mr. Sharpe is part of her job. Mr. Bayless responded, BS, 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 I am calling BS on you. Mr. Bayless then warned her that he doesn't want her to lose her job over this. Ms. Faraji responded that she wasn't going to lose her job because she's a great hairdresser. Mr. Bayless responded, I have love for you and I have for 6 years and you hurt me and you are ruining this. Ms. Faraji again responded that she must be polite to all talent. Mr. Bayless then implied that if he stopped requesting her, it would affect her job. Later on,
they got that conversation on tape. So what? Tell me something. We got to be even-handed here, man. Like when there's like, because again, once again, it's an indictment, but there are some specifics in there, right? Like you can't accuse, like they're quoting from a conversation. Like if that's not right, he could absolutely file suit against her.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't be in her best interest to put an absolute out and out lie in the indictment. I mean, if anything, it's a signal to let them know that they got proof, right? Like that's what it is. Like, don't make me reach in my bag, go back in my bag. You better settle this outside of court. So,
Yeah.
but we're not talking about this though. We're not talking about this where there's actual proof of something. We're talking about 1,000 bottles of baby oil. Let's continue.
the complaint reads, on December 21st, 2023, Mr. Bayless told Ms. Faraji that he still loved her and confided that Mr. Dixon was the one who had told him that Ms. Faraji was sleeping with Mr. Sharpe. Mr. Bayless then again tried to have sex with Ms. Faraji. Ms. Faraji's diary entry for that day states, I said, Skip, I'm only interested in working with you and having friendship relationship with you and nothing else. He said, you have no idea you were losing everything. I don't know what he means by that. And I hope he doesn't take me off the show. It makes me sick to my stomach. And it's really hard for me to work like this. I hope God help me because Fox is supporting people like Charlie and Skip. Now, little side note here. If there is a recording, that is very important evidence for Faraji.
Yikes. Yikes. I mean, we all know that that's how these people get down. We know that's how they get down.
Oh yeah, facts.
We know it's how they get down. It's just,
On top of what she seems to suggest are text messages between her and Bayless. For example, in the complaint it reads, on April 14th, 2022, Mr. Bayless texted Ms. Faraji, if you're distracted tomorrow, I'll wait till Monday, but I can't keep doing this. Ms. Faraji told him that she was very confused. Mr. Bayless responded, trust me, I'm far more confused. And Ms. Faraji then explained over text that she is not sleeping with Mr. Sharpe. Mr. Bayless did not respond. Now,
yo, he was really upset about he was like, yo, you let him hit, why don't you let me hit? That's crazy. That's wild. Cortez says, notice how bro, that's wild, man. And here's another thing too. Who wants to go up behind another man though? Isn't that gross? Is that not gross?
Yeah.
Am I tripping? Am I a weirdo? Like if I go to work and I know that my homeboy that I work with, my counterpart is hooked up with the front desk girl, do I want to go behind him and try to hook up with her after that? Ain't that nasty?
Yeah.
I would never. I would never. I don't know. Maybe that's a white boy thing. I don't know. I like the white boys. This is a white boy thing. Well, I lived in a house when I first moved to San Francisco. I moved into a house with a bunch of gentlemen, and they were all from like Pacifica, which is a suburb of San Francisco. And like all these guys went to school together. And on multiple occasions, partners got mixed up, crossed up. There was a lot of cross doing stuff behind people's backs, and there was a lot of stuff going on. There was a lot of controversy in there. And I just remember sitting around being like, yo, I would like see somebody leave out of somebody's room at like 3 a.m, you know what I'm saying? And then like slide into another and I'd be like, ain't that? And then someone would be like, yeah. And I'd be like, so like some people knew about others and some people didn't really know about others and they was all doing each other hella dirty. And I was like, I will never bring a bitch I'm fucking with. I'll never bring her to this house ever. Cause y'all are all so dirty, down dog, dirty dick.
Wow.
Yeah, they used to hook up with each other all the time. It was bad. It was bad for real. Like, oh, we were on a break. We got in a fight and we were on a break and she would hooked up with like 2 of the other dudes that lived downstairs. It was all bad. All bad.
Now, there could be a way for Skip Bayless to explain that, right? He could say perhaps this was about her work performance, that this is something along the lines of this is if she's sleeping with Shannon Sharpe, then this is going to be problematic.
Yo, Cortez says going behind another man is gay. Thank you.
For her, it's going to be problematic for the show. There might be a way for him to argue against that, right? Perhaps this was something else. And I should also say that a lot of these alleged conversations, these interactions that's...
Can we please just say like, you know, like...
Sit down.
Like who thought that was a good idea? I mean, you know what? I mean, I guess the old dude's gotta keep it, he gotta stay young. He's trying to stay relevant. I can't really fault the guy for wanting to stay relevant. It's just to do the stuff, because the art, you know, when he did get all riled up on First Take with Shannon and like some of the things that he said, they sound exactly like what she said he said. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it sounded, yeah. Like if she would have told the story and she was like, Shannon Sharpe was like, yeah, get on that bull junk. I'd be like, yeah, he probably said that shit. He probably said that shit. He's like, get over here, give me that booty, girl. I'd be like, okay, yeah, he probably said that shit. But I don't know. I just wish everyone would keep the same energy. That's all I want.
Yeah.
Keep the
for him
same
to argue
energy.
against that, right? Perhaps this was something else. And I should also say that a lot of these alleged conversations, these interactions that center around sex between Faraji and Bayless, they seem to be in person. So this is a he said, she said situation. But if you have text messages, if you have a recording, that changes the game. Now, going back to Shannon Sharpe for a minute, he gave a brief response to the allegations Sunday night on his YouTube show called Nightcap, basically saying this has nothing to do with him.
I don't know why everybody if you notice, everybody's posting it. They got me. In the 42 pages, they don't mention nothing about Shannon Sharpe did anything, but y'all want to get clicks. So y'all mention me.
And to be clear, Faraji doesn't accuse Shannon Sharpe of any sort of misconduct here. And Sharpe and Bayless, by the way, no love lost.
Okay, so I just wanted to get to that part. I wanted to get to that part.